to the Vagabond Way podcast. The journey goes ever on with the long road. This episode, do coyotes play guitar? This is just one of the burning topics discussed in today's special episode on Moonshine Elegy, the brand new EP release from Steve Bonham and the Long Road. Other topics discussed include the psychedelia featured in Moonshine Running, the subtext lurking in Canyons in the Desert, and just who are the stars of Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie. The Vagabond Way podcast, featuring The Long Road, is exploring the world of the troubadour, the adventurer, the vagabond. The world isn't beige, it isn't processed, it's authentic, it's rich, and it's real. And if those are the sorts of sentiments that make your brain light up, then hop on board. We are embracing all of those things, we are celebrating all of that, and we'd love it if you joined us on the journey. Greetings, I'm Chris the Bish Leiden. Great to have you on board for this episode of our podcast. Now, just as I sat down to record this, my neighbours started playing thumping music, so I'm hoping it won't disrupt too much. Anyway, as regular listeners might know, I am a fan of fairly arbitrary numerical landmarks, so it pleases me to use today's episode, our 20th episode of the podcast, to officially rebrand as the Vagabond Way podcast, featuring The Long Road. As you'll know, The Long Road is a group consisting of Steve Bonham, the vagabond philosopher, Kev, the big man Moore, and me, Chris the Bish Leiden. As I talked a little bit about last week, we've been doing things the vagabond way for years now, and we've jiggled things around a little bit. The Long Road is still going to be The Long Road, and we'll write and record and perform as The Long Road. But just to accommodate some of the other things we're doing, this podcast, Steve's books and poetry, maybe Kev's short stories, the theatre show that we're cooking up, we'll be doing things the vagabond way. And hopefully you'll join us on the journey. You'll perhaps notice our social media handles have changed to The Vagabond Way, or in the case of Instagram, Do It The Vagabond Way, because somebody already seems to have The Vagabond Way. And our main website is now thevagabondway.net. Well, certainly it's a big day for us here. Lots of preparations for lots of things in the past few months and weeks, and they're coming to fruition. The biggest news is today is the day. It's arrived. New music from The Long Road is released today. Our new EP, called Moonshine Elegy, is out now. Available to listen to on Spotify, on Apple Music, on Amazon Music, or wherever you get your music. There are 4 music videos to accompany the 4 songs as well. The best place to find out about all of that is to go to our website. Go to thevagabondway.net/Moonshine Elegy. So Moonshine Elegy is the second of 4 EPs we're releasing over the course of about a year. The first EP was out last autumn, which was called American Wilderness, and we're thrilled with the support we've received for that from fans literally all over the world. Moonshine Elegy is the second EP in the series of 4 and is out now. Did I already say that? There will be 2 more EPs later in 2020, Out of the Darkness and then Looking for Gold. So today's episode of the podcast is a special dedicated to Moonshine Elegy, and features a relatively rare thing, actually, a live chat between me, Steve and Kev. Recorded, obviously, during lockdown, so over an online group video chat thing. The video bit, so at least we could see each other whilst talking, some sort of human connection. I'm going to cut in snippets from all of the songs on the EP into the chat, as well as a couple of the full tracks. Some of the things we discuss: do coyotes play guitar? Can they play guitar and choose not to in the presence of humans? Should they play guitar? Steve and Kev discuss the methods, the ways of co-writing songs. I chip in with my delight at psychedelia in the videos for Moonshine Running. And there's lots more. Stick around just for a few more minutes and you'll be able to hear for yourself. Another piece of big news we have is we've also launched our new Patreon page today at patreon.com/thevagabondway. So Patreon is a great platform that makes it super easy for people to support creators by giving you direct access to artists, and you get exclusive rewards and you help to shape what creators are making. So consider becoming a vagabonder. That's our name for our supporters on Patreon, and you can help us continue creating some things which are different, which entertain, and hopefully some things that inspire. So join us on the journey and release the vagabond within. Patreon.com/thevagabondway. Don't forget, next Friday, the 1st of May, how is it May already? We are hosting a live stream event on Facebook to launch the new EP, Moonshine Elegy. So get that date in your diary, 7 p.m. British summertime on Friday the 1st of May. There'll be chats, there'll be songs and stories from The Long Road, mostly live on Facebook. One last thing before we get to the main content for today's podcast. Our song from the end of last year, Wrapped Up in You, is up for a UK Country Music Award 2020, presented by ukcountryradio.com. And we need you to vote, so please go to ukcountrymusicawards.com/song to vote for Wrapped Up in You. It's in the list under Steve Bonham. Anyway, that's enough from me for now. I'm going to hand you over to me, but me with Kev and Steve. So I will see you on the other side. Well, here I am with Steve and Kev. We're somehow managing to talk to each other over the internet using the power of a non-Zoom based chat thing.
Using willpower, I think.
Yeah, a lot of willpower and just some guts and determination here. So, for the listeners at home, we're having a human connection moment with the video on we're using a thing called WebEx. So, and you guys will never see that.
Yeah, we're sparing you that.
But it means Kev at home in Spain, Steve at home in Derbyshire, and I'm at home in Manchester, and we're going to try and have a chat, because today is the day, chaps. Finally, we've made it after months and months of work. Today is the day that our new EP, Moonshine Elegy, is released. So it is out there. It is for the world to start consuming. So, we started this whole thing, 6 months ago, I guess, when we launched the first EP from this set of 4, American Wilderness. So there's four songs on this new EP, Moonshine Elegy. Moonshine Running, Canyons in the Desert, the Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie, and then the fourth one is Silver Moon, Silver Girl. They're all basically brand new songs, certainly never been recorded before. We worked on Silver Moon, Silver Girl when we were on tour last.
Yes, when we were in Germany last year. Yeah, almost just over a year ago, isn't it?
Yeah. Oh, yes, because we've had the pictures on Facebook pop up, don't they, to remind you of
in the days when we were allowed to gig.
Yeah.
It debuted in a heavy metal club in somewhere in northern Germany.
Yeah,
it did. A very auspicious beginning for the song, in fact.
With some guys with blood axes watching us very carefully.
And a skull above our heads with eyes that glowed red.
Oh, the skull with the glowing eyes, yes. That place was very special.
You can rely on me, lads, to always slip some heavy metal influence in somewhere.
Yeah. So that was, Silver Moon was getting its first outing back then. But we recorded these new songs back in January at Woodworm.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know about you guys, but to me that feels like literally years ago. January was 3 months ago. Yeah. It was probably almost 3 months the day where we were finishing the mixing process, and
it seems like another lifetime, doesn't it?
Yeah. So I don't know about you guys. I don't know if you've got any favourite bits from the songs, either the lyrics or the stories behind them.
Yeah, there's things that leap out to me. I remember working on Canyons because Steve sent me over a very, very basic sort of track with a bit of chugging guitar, I suppose, and the lyric, the way he delivered the lyric, just gave me a whole idea of how the feel of that should be, and made me put all those strange noises on it.
Yes,
which gladly, I'm happy to say, got by Stuart and remained in the track as we finished it. For
me, there's some of the interesting things about these new tracks are the weirder bits, the weirder corners that we.
Yeah, I think we've managed to. We've learned better how to. I don't know, infuse the tracks with an authentic atmosphere. I can't even put my finger on what it is, but there's something in them that it's really sort of organic.
I think that's spot on. I think that song and the Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie, there are two songs which just sound like something in our heads. It doesn't belong to anybody else. It's strange and it's lovely. It's really lovely. I mean, my big one I did like. And that's because I almost gave up on it. It is the Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie, because that really started because I was in the middle of a trek in the middle of nowhere. I mean, literally, I think as the lyric says, a number of days out from Blue Ridge, trekking with a backpack and my friend through the forest, not seeing another human being. And right in the middle of nowhere, somebody's carved on a tree, D loves BM. And I have to say, it wasn't me, it was my friend who said, that's Duane and Billy Marie, as if she already knew, sort of thing. And I wrote those really strange lyrics down about this and who they were and imagined what became of them. And then I didn't know whether it was a poem or a song. I sent it off to Kev, and he sort of came back with, I think he was, ODing on his Ecuadorian coffee at the time. Very, very strange thing. And I have to admit, the first time I heard it, I thought, that's really good, but it's really weird. I mean, who knows how are we going to play this damn thing? And actually, to be fair, that's still an issue.
Well, I was asking myself that very question 10 minutes before I put the track down. I thought, how the hell did I play this? And realised I'd used the capo. Yeah. Well, I thought, I'm not capable of playing this, and I thought, well, I must be because I worked it out. Yeah.
The funny, the Billy Marie one, Duane and Billy Marie. For me, the visuals of that, just straight away, I see a place in my head. The landscape that's drawn in my head when I hear that one is instant, and I think that's one of the things that drew me to it. You get the weirdness of it, but then you're in a place straight away.
Absolutely.
I can't guarantee it's exactly the same place that either of Steve or Kev were in when they were doing things, but I think that's the point of these things, is that they take you somewhere. And that one,
they take different people to different places. They can mean, to the listener, they can mean different things. I mean, when I got the lyrics from Steve, it's like a lot of his lyrics, quite cinematic. So definitely. And then that feeds into the music I put to that, because it that's why it's got that kind of dreamy sequence bit in it. It seems to go there for in my, as you say, it's probably the strain of Coffee Bean, but nevertheless.
So here seems like an appropriate place to play you the full track of Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie from Moonshine Elegy by Steve Bonham and The Long Road.
4 days out from the ridge, 6 or more to go. We lay side by side like lovers, counting all the stars, and the old black bear, and the creaking pine. One coyote sang, we were strumming our guitars. Carved upon the white oak that had fallen to the floor, where the embers there still linger. Duane had written about his love. He left no mark, but only this. So we gathered yarn to spin and watched the moon rising through the branches high above. And the old black bear and the creaking pine, what coyotes sang, we were strumming our guitars. And they were both forgotten as we hit the trail again. Till down the road in Cherokee, I just chanced upon a guy who played on the slot machines with whiskey on his breath. 'Cause the world telling all who'd hear, she never said goodbye.
For the listeners at home, for each of the songs in the EP, for the first time in our history, we've managed to get a music video made for each one before they're released. So we've succeeded there.
We're ahead of the curve.
The music video for the Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie, there are some bits of which I think are just lovely, but in particular the bits that managed to connect with me is there's the moments where you see the starscape and you've got the sort of, okay, it's my bit, the ethereal piano part, the very gentle twinkle bit, but it just that is the image that I had in my head when I heard those bits, and it all started to make sense. And so for me, from the videos, that's one of my favourite bits, is just sort of almost seeing that image I had in my head come on screen. I think it's remarkable.
Yeah, become reality. Yeah, absolutely.
Now, was Billy the one where we had to decide? It was something about the Coyotes guitars. We had to work out whether was it plural, or whether we were playing their guitars or they were playing our guitars. There was some metaphysical decision to be made, wasn't there?
Yes, I think Steve perhaps thought it was a dreamscape too far that the Coyotes were playing the guitars, but it certainly that image certainly helped me write the music part. But I think we eventually went with humans playing the guitars, didn't we? Yeah. Our guitars, yeah.
Oh yes, because the lyrics were we were strumming their guitars or we were strumming our guitars. Yes, that's right.
Who knew Coyotes had their own instruments?
Yeah, it's one of those moments when you're singing a lyric and you start to get ridiculous, you know. And I remember singing that, thinking, well, I can't get my bleeding fingers around these chords on here. How's a coyote going to manage it? So.
Especially without an opposable thumb.
And that's one of the instances there where the lyrics sort of dancing on the pin of a head, isn't it? If you go one way with a word, it conjures up one thing. Go another way with a word, it conjures something else.
We can assure the listeners, though, that no coyotes were harmed during the making of this.
I don't know, Steve, because obviously the lyrics are, I think for these lot, they're all yours, aren't they? The lyrics. Is there any particular bits of the lyrics that you think I quite like that bit, or that bit is directly drawn from this experience? You mentioned the Duane and Billy Marie on the carved into the tree.
Well, the great thing about the Moonshine Running one was I just visited with my old friend Rob McHale, the son of the most famous, or one of the most famous moonshine runners in the old history, and he was a lovely guy, and he's now making it legally. And Willie Claycall, big friend of Junior Johnson, the only guy never to be caught by the police running moonshine. And and the story is amazing. I mean, the story of moonshine, it's those guys used to take their cars and stick these huge bloody engines in, because that was the only way they could make a living. They were small crop farmers, and if they didn't sell this as alcohol, they starved. So it is a Robin Hood story. And the police, he almost recognised that was the boy. But they used to have these supercharged cars. Of course, all the drivers then became NASCAR racers later on in their careers. Yeah. So and at the same time, that same day, Rob and I called by the very strange and spooky grave of Tom Dooley, of You're Gonna Hang Your Tom Dooley song. It's a very strange place, up in the middle of nowhere, very spooky. You can't not write a song after that.
No, absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, Moonshine Running was a funny one for me because when I first heard it, I thought, what is this? This is simple. Like
Simple.
You know, the refrain or the chorus, whatever you want to call it, you know, it's 2 chords. And I was thinking, Steve's got this sound in his head that when I first heard it, Steve has got this sound in his head that I haven't got it yet. And actually, I genuinely don't think it was until we were actually in the studio doing it where it finally it synced up for me and it went, I see where this has gone. For me, it was almost sort of, I was a bit sort of trepidatious about it, thinking, Steve is gunning for this song. I don't get it yet. But, you know, actually, it's one of my favourites now.
Sometimes it's almost braver to go with a simple option, actually. It sometimes needs a straight ahead, and that's a straight ahead song. And it informs the whole thing about running the moonshine. You know, it's got that's that kind of song, you know, get in a supercharged car and get across the border with your goods, you know.
I mean, one of my favourite bits in that song, it comes a couple of times, is the way down Thunder Road bit, because the chord changes at that point, so it becomes it's a different sort of musical moment at that point as well.
It breaks out, doesn't it?
Yeah. But that whole the way down Thunder Road bit and that little, there's a bit that leads into the 50 pounds of sugar.
Yeah.
That bit.
By the way, dear listener, it's the recipe for moonshine if you want to make it.
Not that we're encouraging you all to
If there's any law enforcement listening, you know, Steve doesn't say that.
If you're all locked down and bored on Saturday afternoon, fill your bath and get on with it.
Yeah. And again, with Moonshine Running, for me, because I happened to make the video for Moonshine Running, it was my fault, that one. But I do quite like the psychedelic chorus on it. Whether that's just my sole vision of it, I don't know. But that's the impression I got from it at that point. Is we needed some psychedelia at that point. There's an edge to that moonshine for sure. So here I'll play you Moonshine Running from the EP Moonshine Elegy. See if you agree about the psychedelic choruses, and do check out the video to see what I mean.
Way up in the backwoods where the pines they stoop so low, there's ghosts there in the shadows, moving mighty slow. In the gate by Tom Dooley grave, a mobile waste to drive. Someone took the motor out, put a Cadillac inside, singing moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Lightning on the side roads, the fires light up the sky. All the corns are burning, you can't help to wonder why. Someone's been a snitching, someone told the law. Sneaky Jim, what do you think of him creeping out the door? Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Way down Thunder Road, burning up the sky with another load. You know we're running shine, 100 miles across the Wicks County line. 50 pounds of sugar, 100 pounds of rye. When they come a-calling, where's your alibi? Take on a cake of yeast, some water from the creek. Say a prayer to the Lord above, we're on a winning streak. Yeah. Oh, me and the Bishop and Big Kev on the bass heard that the revenue had got us on their case. So we got them drinking some good old apple pie. The sheriff found them singing, you gotta live before you die. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Way down Thunder Road, burning up the night with another load. You know we're running shine, your breath, a lullaby, we're on a winning streak. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop. Moonshine, moonshine, take a little drop. Take a jug of whiskey, you will find that you can stop.
Thinking about the other two songs, so we've talked a bit about the Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie and Moonshine Running. They're the two of the songs on the EP. The other two songs, Canyons in the Desert, and Silver Moon, Silver Girl. Now, Kev, you did the video for those two. For the Canyons one, I love the colour scheme. You know, you stuck with red, black, and white, and it tells you something straight. It tells you a sub story straight away.
I just see those kind of images in my head when I listen to the track, and I like to do those kind of almost primitive storyboard type lyric videos, and the red, because the desert, you know, it just comes into my head, and it's a big deal down here in Spain. That, you know, it's why the flag is red and yellow in Spain, because of the red dirt in the desert and the soil, you know. So I think it gives that vibe, and I enjoyed messing with ideas there. To, you know, some of it you'll see is slightly animated, very basic, but because the track's got an atmosphere that lends itself to doing strange things with. You know?
That's what I love what you guys did to that song, and it was very basic. It was just me grumbling away. In fact, I remember writing it lying flat on my back on the settee, which is why everything's at the bottom of the register.
So just going to play a short clip from this song this week. Here's a little bit of Canyons in the Desert.
It's time to move out, a time to reload. Girl, put down the payload. Dragons in the night, turtles in the sea, canyons in the desert looking good to me. Dancing on the boulevard way down in New Orleans, turn sideways to the sun and let the Joker steal the scene.
So the last one to talk about is Silver Moon, Silver Girl.
Well, I just want to do something very New Orleansy, so we could unleash the bishop at it with true ferocity, and that worked. You know, I just wanted to make a song that's about a road trip, but just sort of captures that feeling and allows things to get a bit swampy and a bit bluesy, which is what we did.
And Silver Moon performing live is one of my favourite ones to do live, because it's got this it's got a great feel to it, and you can just see people. You transport people. They know where in their head they are when they hear that, and again, it's not a straight. Okay, it's only. I was going to say it's only 2 chords. It's not. It's far more chords, because there are some weird things in that song.
There's some weird little half bars, aren't there? And things,
weird half bars, some weird scrunchy chords that Steve had no idea he was writing or singing when he started to do it. But when, you know, with my sort of analytical hat on, the first time I heard it, I was thinking, Steve would ask me, what chord is that? And I go, it has no name, Steve. There is no name.
There's no name.
But actually, you sort of, you know, I massaged it into how my brain could accommodate it, and it starts to make sense. And I really like it. There's some great moments of tension and release in that song.
That's it. Exactly that, isn't it? Yeah.
The end of the guitar solo when we have that. I just love that bit, and it's a weird chord. You probably won't hear it as a sort of casual bystander listener, but you know it's weird, and for that reason that does end up being one of my favourite songs to do live. Here's a little clip from Silver Moon, Silver Girl from our new EP, Moonshine Elegy. So, I mean, those are the 4 songs. So, Moonshine Running, Canyons in the Desert, The Ballad of Duane and Billy Marie, Silver Moon, Silver Girl. They all together form our new EP called Moonshine Elegy. So, people out there, you can listen to it. The best place to get hold of things or to find out about it is to go to the website. And we've changed our web address this week to coincide with the launch of this new EP. So the new website is thevagabondway.net. And if you go there and look for the Moonshine Elegy page, or you go vagabondway.net/Moonshine Elegy, you'll find a webpage there that's got everything on. It's got the 4 music videos, so you can see the psychedelia that we've been talking about.
Experience it for yourself.
Absolutely. Full screen, headphones on. And you can also get links to the Spotify, the tracks are on Spotify, or Apple Music, or Amazon, or, it's everywhere. If you just Googled, Moonshine Elegy, you'd probably find it. But go to the website is the best place. So thevagabondway.net/Moonshine Elegy, and you can see all about it. Bigger picture-wise, I don't know, Steve, whether you want to talk a little bit about the... So this is the second of 4 EPs.
This is our journey, isn't it? But guys, we actually have 15 tracks all on this story. Kev and I started, in fact, in August last year, and then did the American Wilderness EP. So there's 2 more. There's Looking for Gold, which will be out in September, and before that there'll be Out of the Darkness, which is... I'm really excited about this, but I'm really, really excited about that one as well, because that is very dark in places, very dark, and all the things we've talked about here about that kind of surreal landscape that you get from just diving into that world. It's all there in its rawest form, So. Well, I haven't told you yet, guys, but I thought of a great title for the next LP to do in January next year. So.
Right.
Go on.
No. I'll keep that as a secret later. But,
okay. Yeah.
But I think we've embarked on something. I really do think, like Kev was saying right at the beginning of this chat, I think we did some great stuff on the Rattlesnake album and Reliance. But it's like we've all fallen together. We know the rules of this now. We know the vocabulary and the way to work, and it is, for me, it feels different, and I'm really excited to keep sort of ploughing away on this particular gold seam that we've fallen over.
Yeah, absolutely.
So that was a bit of a ramble chat about Moonshine Elegy. Check out the videos and the music at thevagabondway.net/Moonshine Elegy. Now, the quickest Bishop's Daily Bread ever this week. A, because we've packed so much into this episode already, and B, I've been so busy preparing loads of stuff that I haven't really had time to bake much. I did find time to make a great loaf in a tin. I bought a fabulously sturdy tin for it. Just a simple plain white loaf, but it was delicious. Had a great crust, tasted great. My rennet arrived, Rennet! And I did have a first bash at some homemade mozzarella. A mixed bag, results-wise. Things didn't quite go exactly to plan. Not a million miles off, so I'm not super disappointed for a first attempt, but I've still got a way to go on that one. Oh, and the Francomanca pizza dough recipe that I tried a few weeks ago and was a little underwhelmed by. I think it was oversalted. I tried it again this week with a more reasonable amount of salt, and it was bloody great, delicious. So just Google the Francomanca pizza dough recipe, and I'm sure you'll find it. And just a quick heads up, due to today's overstuffed episode, there is no Kev's Cafe Corner this week, but he'll be back next week with a dose of comestible medicine from Memphis. Thanks for listening, as always, wherever in the world you are. Remember to subscribe to the podcast. We are on SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Acast. The next episode will be out next week, Friday the 1st of May. Find The Vagabond Way /Steve Bonham and The Long Road on Facebook. That's our main social media channel. You can also check out our YouTube channel, youtube.com/The Vagabond Way. All of our music is now on Spotify and Apple Music. Go and have a listen. If you like what you hear, consider purchasing from Apple Music or another online store. We're on Patreon at patreon.com/The Vagabond Way. Patreon is a great platform that makes it super easy for anyone out there, you, to support content that you love on a monthly basis. It gives you direct access to the people creating the stuff you love, us, hopefully, and you get to play an integral part in shaping the direction of the things that we make. So, become a vagabonder. That's our name for supporters on Patreon. Help us create music, live performances, books, short stories, this weekly podcast, and some new things we are cooking up. As a vagabonder, you can get the recordings and books we make for free, receive exclusive Patreon-only merchandise in the post, get regular behind-the-scenes updates from us, unlock access to exclusive live-stream performances and Q&As, and lots more. You can help us create something different, something that entertains, and something that inspires others. So, join us on the journey and release the vagabond within. Patreon.com/thevagabondway. Thank you once again, brave adventurers, vagabonds and explorers, for joining us on The Vagabond Way. Remember, the world isn't beige, it's authentic, it's rich and it's real. Embrace every last bit of it. Until next time, the journey goes ever on with the long road. Bye for now.